When the universe falls silent, it is not rejecting you, it is refining you. You stand alone at the edge of the unknown, stripped of progress, stripped of proof, staring into the slow, unblinking eyes of eternity. Nothing moves. You begin to wonder if you've been abandoned, but this stillness is not absence, it's initiation. Before every breakthrough, life removes what is false, peeling away illusion until only the raw, unguarded self remains. Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." This is the threshold he meant, the psychic crucible where your impatience burns, your certainty dissolves, and the shadow whispers truths you were not ready to hear. Every unanswered prayer, every door that refuses to open is not punishment but precision. The self is sculpting you through delay, testing the endurance of your inner flame. In this suspended hour, the ego screams, but the soul listens. When nothing happens, everything is happening within. This is the space where destiny inhales before it speaks. Remember, silence is not the void. It is the voice before sound. Comment below. The silence is my initiation. Number 2, the alchemy of frustration. Frustration is the universe's secret language. It is the tension between who you are and who you are becoming, the grinding of your old identity against the doorway of transformation. You want to move forward, but something unseen holds you back. You call it delay, failure, bad luck. But beneath the surface, it is alchemy. Every obstacle is a psychological furnace, melting away what no longer belongs to your becoming. Jung would say that the psyche seeks wholeness, not comfort, and so it will summon whatever storms are necessary to dissolve the false gods you worship, the illusions of control, validation, and certainty. Frustration is divine pressure. It cracks open the shell of the ego so the archetype within can breathe. The warrior, the seeker, the magician. You are being trained in invisibility, sharpened in shadow, purified in waiting. That is why it hurts so deeply. That is why it feels endless. Because the part of you that resists this moment is the very part that cannot survive your breakthrough. There are no wasted delays in the language of the soul. Every hour spent in agony is a silent rearrangement of meaning, your perception being rewired, your desires being purified. The alchemist does not curse the fire. He watches as the lead trembles, softens, and begins to change its nature. You too are being transmuted. The frustration you feel is not the end of your path. It is the path. It is the pressure that awakens vision, the darkness that teases out light. To surrender to frustration is to trust the hidden rhythm of your own evolution. So breathe, endure the pressure, watch the tension without fighting it. Let it twist you until you begin to see patterns in the pain. Because frustration is not chaos. It is divine geometry rearranging the coordinates of your destiny. The moment you stop resisting, you begin to transform. If you understand this, if you felt the alchemy working behind your anger, comment below. I turn frustration into gold. Number 3, the Shadow's Gate. Every soul must pass through the Shadow's Gate. It is not guarded by demons, but by reflections, by every emotion, memory and wound you have buried to keep your identity intact. The gate appears when life begins to strip away your false light, when everything you thought defined you begins to dissolve. The shadow is not evil. It is the forgotten half of your own divinity. Jung wrote that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. To walk through the Shadow's Gate is to meet yourself, the unedited, untamed version of your being. It will not greet you politely. It will roar. It will accuse. It will show you how you've betrayed your own instincts to belong, how you've worn masks to be loved, how you've dimmed your own fire just to be safe. This confrontation is sacred. It breaks the illusion that you are only light. It reveals that you are the storm and the calm, the sinner and the saint, the destroyer and the healer. When you stop running from your shadow, it kneels. When you stop denying your darkness, it becomes your sword. The gate tests you not to punish, but to prove you can hold your own power without collapsing under its weight. Most people turn back here, terrified of the mirror. But you, if you are listening, are not most people. You are the one who dares to see, the one who dares to integrate. On the other side of this threshold, your fear becomes intuition, your rage becomes clarity, your pain becomes presence. This is the psychology of rebirth, the alchemy of the soul reclaiming its missing pieces. So when life drags you into your own depths, don't beg to escape. Breathe, witness, step forward with trembling faith. Because through the shadow's gate lies everything you have ever sought: purpose, authenticity, power. If you are ready to walk through your own darkness, comment below, "I am not afraid of my shadow." Number 4. The death of the old self. Before the breakthrough, there is always a death, not of the body, but of the self you once believed you were. This death is quiet, slow, and merciless. It arrives disguised as exhaustion, disillusionment, loss. The world you built begins to crumble, and every plan that once made sense now collapses under the gravity of something larger. This is the ego's funeral, the burning of your old narrative. Jung understood this process as individuation, the birth of the true self through the death of the false one. But to the mind, it feels like ruin. You will resist, fight, and bargain with the inevitable. You will try to rebuild what no longer belongs to you, but nothing will fit. Every old dream becomes ash because the one who dreamed it no longer exists. You cannot resurrect who you were and step into who you are becoming at the same time. The universe knows this. That's why it tears away your illusions with surgical precision, not to destroy you, but to release you. Death, in the Jungian sense, is symbolic transformation. It is the collapse of the ego's empire so that the self, the eternal, observing center, can rise from beneath the rubble. The old self dies screaming for control, but the deeper self watches in silence. It knows that destruction is divine choreography. The snake must shed its skin. The phoenix must burn before it flies. Your pain is not meaningless. It is the sound of your soul expanding beyond its previous form. To lose yourself is to find what cannot be lost. So let the old identity fall apart. Let the ruins whisper their final confession. Mourn, but do not cling. When the fire fades, you will see something standing quietly in the smoke. Unshakable, ancient, awake. That is you, reborn from your own undoing. If you have felt the death of who you once were and lived to rise again, comment below, "I am reborn from my own ashes." Number 5. The dark mentor within. When the world abandons you, when every voice of comfort fades, something ancient awakens in the silence. The dark mentor within. It is not a spirit outside of you, but the deeper intelligence that has been buried beneath years of noise. It does not speak in soft affirmations. It whispers in riddles, in symbols, in moments that hurt enough to wake you. Jung called this inner figure the wise old man, the inner guide of the unconscious. But it often appears first as chaos, as the storm that shatters your illusions. The dark mentor teaches through absence, through the collapse of what you thought you needed. It teaches by denying you easy answers. You will curse it. You will resist its lessons. Yet every trial it sets before you is a mirror designed to reveal the strength you have forgotten. This mentor asks one question only: will you remain the victim or will you become the observer? The moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" the mentor steps out from the shadows. Its lessons are not gentle, they are surgical. It removes your dependency on validation, your addiction to certainty, your fear of solitude. It trains you to see meaning where others see misfortune, to find order in the ruins. Its goal is not comfort, but consciousness. The dark mentor knows that growth without friction is illusion. It sends you rejection to awaken self-worth, isolation to summon self-dialogue, loss to resurrect gratitude. Every challenge it gives you is a coded message from the soul, disguised as pain. Once you begin to listen, patterns emerge, and suffering becomes scripture. The universe speaks through contradiction, and your inner guide translates it through patience. So when life feels merciless, listen deeper. The dark mentor is speaking. If you've met this inner teacher in your hardest hours, Comment below, my darkness teaches me. Number 6. The mirror of archetypes. Every human being carries a universe inside them, a constellation of ancient forces called archetypes. They are the original patterns of being, the timeless masks through which the soul expresses itself. Jung described them as primordial images, living energies that guide our choices, shape our dreams, and stir our desires. They dwell beneath logic, whispering through symbols, myths, and instincts. The warrior, the lover, the magician, the sage. These are not mere ideas, but living mirrors reflecting the different faces of your potential. When you are lost, one of them rises from the unconscious, demanding to be seen. The archetypes are not random. They appear when your soul is ready to evolve. When you feel powerless, the warrior calls. When you feel numb, the lover breathes. When you crave truth, the sage awakens. Each one tests your patience, confronting you with the very energy you've suppressed. But here lies the paradox. The archetypes that save you also destroy you. The warrior grants courage, but tempts violence. The lover opens your heart, but risks obsession. The magician reveals wisdom, but lures you toward arrogance. To integrate them is to hold both their light and shadow without losing yourself. This is the mirror of archetypes, where your soul's potential and your ego's limits collide. When life places you in situations that evoke anger, passion, grief, or vision, it is not punishing you. It is summoning the archetype that must awaken within you. The key is not to identify with it blindly, but to dialogue with it consciously. Ask what it wants. Listen. The archetypes are eternal mentors wearing the masks of your emotions. Through them, you learn that every crisis is myth in motion, your own psyche retelling the story of creation through you. So look into your emotions as if they were mirrors. Ask what ancient god is speaking through your struggle today. If you've seen glimpses of your own archetypes emerging through your chaos, comment below, I am many and I am whole. Number 7. The trial of faith and fire. Every transformation demands a trial by fire. When the soul approaches its threshold of rebirth, the universe strikes the match. Everything familiar begins to burn. Your plans, your certainty, your sense of safety. It feels cruel, almost personal, as if life itself conspires against you. But this fire is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal what cannot burn. Jung understood this as the process of individuation, the psychic purification that turns suffering into consciousness. The fire strips away every false attachment until all that remains is essence. You learn painfully that faith is not believing everything will be easy. Faith is standing still inside the flames, knowing they are sculpting you into something indestructible. The ego trembles, screams, bargains for escape, but the soul watches with calm eyes, whispering, "Stay. This is sacred work." Patience becomes your armor. Endurance becomes your prayer. Each spark of pain is a lesson in disguise, showing you what you've overvalued, where you've hidden fear behind ambition, how you've mistaken control for purpose. The fire reveals the architecture of your inner world. Every fragile belief, every half-truth, every emotional dependency that must turn to ash. You begin to see that faith is not blind. It is vision through smoke. It is the quiet knowing that destruction precedes creation, that endings are doorways in disguise. The universe tests your patience not to delay your destiny, but to prepare your hands to hold it. For what is gold without the heat that forged it? What is strength without the pressure that proved it? So when the flames rise and everything familiar collapses, remember, you are not losing yourself. You are being tempered. The fire does not ask for your fear, it asks for your trust. If you have walked through your own inferno and found light on the other side, comment below, I endure the fire to reveal my truth. Number 8. The silence before the dawn. There comes a moment after the fire when everything falls into an impossible stillness. The air feels hollow, the world eerily quiet, as if creation itself has paused to take a breath. This is the silence before the dawn. the in-between where the old has died, but the new has not yet arrived. It is the most delicate, disorienting stage of transformation. You are no longer who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. The universe holds you in suspension, testing your ability to exist without definition. Jung would call this the liminal space, the twilight between endings and beginnings, where the unconscious reshapes the architecture of the soul. To the impatient mind, it feels like abandonment. To the awakening spirit, it is gestation. You are being rewoven by unseen hands. Every cell, every thought, every instinct is recalibrating to match the frequency of your next incarnation. This silence is not empty. It is sacred containment. The seed beneath the soil is silent too, yet within it, worlds are forming. Your task is to trust what you cannot see, to sit in the uncertainty without forcing resolution. The ego wants noise, progress, evidence, but the self speaks through stillness. It whispers in intuition, in symbols, in sudden waves of calm that arrive without reason. The silence teaches surrender, the art of allowing life to unfold without interference. It is here that you learn patience, not as waiting, but as alignment. You begin to realize that destiny does not rush, it ripens. Every dawn needs darkness to define its light. The deeper the silence, the brighter the awakening. So, if you find yourself in this vast quiet, do not mistake it for absence. You are standing inside the chrysalis, surrounded by invisible transformation. The world outside may not understand, but the soul knows. The sun is gathering its strength beyond the horizon, and when it rises, you will no longer walk. You will radiate. Hold your center. Trust the stillness. If you have felt this sacred quiet, this pause between destruction and creation, comment below. In silence, I am reborn. Number 9. The return of the self. When the dawn finally breaks, it does not arrive with fanfare. It comes softly, in a quiet realization, in a deep exhale, in the sudden awareness that you are no longer the same. The self returns not as a visitor, but as the sovereign of your inner world. Jung called this moment integration, the sacred reunion between the conscious and the unconscious, between the wandering ego and the eternal self. You have walked through darkness, fire, and silence. Now, what emerges is not perfection, but wholeness. You begin to see the meaning behind every delay, every heartbreak, every collapse. They were not random. They were threads in the larger pattern that your soul was weaving all along. The tests were never about punishment. They were about alignment. The universe was sculpting a being capable of carrying truth without shattering. You no longer crave control. You crave coherence. You no longer chase signs. You become one. The same situations that once triggered fear now awaken understanding. You realize that life has always been communicating in symbols, dreams, coincidences, synchronicities, and now you finally speak its language. This is the return of the self, the moment when you stop running from your reflection and start walking with it. You carry your shadow, your wounds, your wisdom, and your wonder as one unbroken being. The divine no longer feels distant because you have discovered it within. You understand now that patience was not waiting. It was transformation unfolding in slow motion. You were never being tested to prove your worth. You were being invited to remember it. And as you stand beneath the first light of your new beginning, you realize something profound. The universe was never against you. It was always conspiring for your awakening, using every challenge as a chisel to carve out your truth. This is your return, not to who you were, but to who you have always been. If you have felt the merging of your old self and your eternal self, comment below. I have returned to my center. Number 10. The breakthrough and the eternal now. The breakthrough is never a thunderclap. It is an awakening. It arrives when you least expect it, in the middle of an ordinary breath, when the battle inside you finally surrenders to the rhythm of life. The universe tests your patience, not to delay your destiny, but to stretch your vessel so you can hold it. The moment you stop fighting for control, the door opens. you realize the waiting was never wasted time. It was sacred preparation. The universe was never keeping you from the light. It was teaching you how to see it. Jung believed that what we do not make conscious controls us as fate. And now, through your trials, through your silence, through your fire, you have made the unconscious conscious. You have met your shadow. You have faced your fear. You have passed through death into awakening. The breakthrough is not an external reward. It is internal alignment. You no longer chase meaning. You emanate it. You no longer fear uncertainty. You recognize it as creation in motion. The eternal now opens before you, a moment without past or future, where everything is exactly as it should be. Here, time dissolves. You stand at the center of your own myth, aware that you were never lost, only unfolding. This is the point of return, the quiet victory that needs no applause. You are both the dreamer and the dream, the artist and the canvas, the question and the answer. The universe does not owe you signs anymore. You have become one. So walk forward with calm eyes and open hands. Trust the timing, trust the silence, trust the strange perfection of your path. You are not behind. You are precisely aligned with the rhythm of your becoming. The universe tested your patience to show you that what is meant for you cannot be rushed, cannot be missed, and cannot be broken. If this truth resonates in your bones, if you have felt the sacred fire of your own rebirth, comment below, "I am the breakthrough."